I made every single mistake possible while developing our first indie game, but looking back, those fails were exactly what we needed to learn. Let's start from day one and see how this whole disaster started. So this is my buddy and me. He's been coding for years, and me, I opened the engine for the first time about a year ago. We had an extensive discussion and decided to develop a co-op game. I'm Steensman and this is Llama from Baku Dev. Llama is the brain behind the function and logic, and I am the 3D artist in charge of entire visual designs. Together we are two guys, one engine. In the engine, Llama holds the rank DMG, and me, I honestly rank myself as Supreme. Okay, maybe I'm just silver, but that doesn't matter right now, because now I'm going to tell you the law of our game. If you believe in the asteroid theory, you'd better turn off this video right now. The real story is that volcano erupted, spewing out not just lava but also those dangerous black spheres known as Kugulossos. The Kugulossos had complete control over the Cubone land, but unbeknownst to them, something was unfolding in the shadows. In the forest, there was a square grid that coincidentally looked just like an ice cube trail. Two cubes hatched from it and saw the light of day. By chance, Llama and I were right there. We witnessed the hatching firsthand and Llama simply said,
"We need to make a game out of this."
And so DosQubos was born. But why did we choose cubes as the main characters? Certainly not because of complex rigging or annoying animations. That doesn't exactly answer the questions, but let's roll with it. For the cubers we only need one bone for the rigging, right? Unfortunately, it's a bit more complicated, but honestly I have no idea how it works. Let's take a look at the gameplay. The core mechanics require the two cubers to work together. You can jump on each other to reach higher areas that would otherwise be inaccessible. And there are switches that allow you to move platforms for one another. If one player falls into the lava, both are reset. Since the game is all about the heavy physics-based action, syncing those cubos over the network is a whole different beast. But luckily that's not my problem.
Yes, you're right, it's my problem. So let's take a look at the actual gameplay mechanics. So as Steensman has told you, we are playing two cubos, which are physics based and can stack on each other. So the first thing I did was to create a pawn which is physics based and you're controlling a cube. I was controlling the cube through add force in Unreal Engine, which means it's not the normal character movement component which just moves around the map and already has replication implemented. It's basically a physics body which you add force to move it. In single player that works perfectly because you do not need replication, but as you may know, the game is called DosQubos, so we need two cubes. And I tried that. And in editor, when trying with two instances, it also works good because there is no ping. But once we did the first playtest, I noticed that won't work because the replication is just buggy. It's delayed due to the ping you have when playing real multiplayer, so I needed a solution. And not gonna lie, saying I'm a DMG in Unreal is a pretty fast stretch. I'm not that good, especially with multiplayer. It was my first multiplayer game ever and I was happy to even make the Steam implementation. So I went on a researching spree. I was grinding out YouTube tutorials, watching TED Talks, I was researching Rocket League because they got awesome physics replication, and the keywords I found out were interpolation, physics prediction, reconciliation and things like that, and it was confusing, it was very hard and I did not understand it. But what I also found was a plugin which I can't pronounce as a German, but I'm trying anyways. It's called Smooth Sync, something like that, and it basically takes care of the physics replication and interpolation, prediction and all these fancy buzzwords. So we thought we found the holy grail, so we purchased it and I set up the project using it. And we went into a playtest and we noticed it kinda works. We can stack on each other, we can bump into each other and the other player does not look laggy. So we thought that's the system we needed. So I then continued using that plugin to implement all of the other gameplay features we needed, and we carved out a little thing for a playtest we can actually send to other people, which shows the game loop and is testable.
Thanks for everyone who participated in the playtest. And special thanks to TVFrag, you were the only one who actually recorded the session.
The playtest feedback was quite good. The people who played it liked it. The major feedback was that the movement feels slidey and buggy at some points, and the moving platforms were glitchy in some instances. But we thought all of those were just some minor bugs we had to fix and some minor adjustments we have to make to the movement. So we decided the next step was to actually turn the block out map into a polished map which looks nice. And while Steensman is doing that, I'm going to fix the movement. So here's how that went.
I created the various meshes in Blender, starting with the main character. I decided to make the edges look worn to achieve a rustic look. For I hadn't considered that I'd have to do the same for every other mesh as well. I created the edges using the knife tool as shown in the video. If you know of any faster ways to distress the edges, feel free to leave a comment. I also worked on the foliage to give the entire level a jungle look. However, if you take a closer look at the topology of this plant, you notice an enormous number of polygons. In Unreal Engine, every single phase must be processed and rendered in real time. Now you might think, doesn't Unreal Engine have Nanite for that? And yes, Nanite is great, but it isn't a universal solution for everything. If you have too many polygons in a confined space, like in a jungle, the engine still has to process all that data. I've imported all the foliage meshes, but we'll get the PCG part later. I also created trees using Treeed and the leaf texture with Krita. If you'd like to know more about tree designs, join our Discord server. Link is in. After the block out, I spent a lot of time on the landscape sculpting. All the sculpting, placing the meshes and even the moving platforms, I did it all. I manually animation every single platform using the level sequencer to make sure the timing was perfect. But then
everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
The movement changed and now the character can jump much farther than before. And all that worked was a waste of time.
Yeah, in hindsight, I guess we could have known that that will happen if I changed the movement while he's making the map. But nonetheless, here's what we changed about the movement. So we added a dash, which was pretty cool. I gave the cubes some more traction to the ground. I made the gravity feel a little bit more realistic because before you felt floating once you've jumped. I implemented some settings which allows us to adjust the movement more easily so we can test, then adjust and test, so in the end it's actually perfect and we don't have to change it over and over again. And I also added some deterministic features, like if you bump into each other you're both going to be pushed away. If you are getting hit by a rotation knocker or pusher block, you're also going to get pushed away more deterministically, because before it was only the physics, which just led to it being not so arcadey and just not feeling that good. And lastly, I added some minor polishing things which went pretty fast, like FOV changes, camera zooms and things like that. And once that was done, we thought we had the movement on point. We did not really test on a real map with moving platforms, but we thought we had it on point, so...
Let's talk about PCG. It stands for Procedural Content Generation. Basically, just imagine a box in the engine. Inside the box you control where every object should be placed automatically. You don't have to place anything by hand anymore. Look at that, it looks amazing! All the plants are finally in place. But I turned the shader complexity mode and I saw the plants were bright red. And well, red usually isn't that good. But I ignored for the time being, was already thinking about what to do next. But the PC suddenly got louder. And I got a black screen. And that's when I knew what I had to do. Fix the PCG. I started researching and scoured half the internet. And in sheer desperation, I asked Llama for help. And advised me to lower the culling distance so that only nearby meshes are rendered.
So once Steensman had the whole map completed, it was not lagging that bad anymore. We decided it's finally time to test again, because testing was something we didn't do anymore for some reason, which is very stupid when making a game. But we packaged the game, I uploaded it to Steam into our private testing thing, and we started testing. And yeah, it went mediumly good, I would say. It was not good, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really fun. And when we let other people play, they also said that it was okay, the idea is good, but how it came out at the end was bad. And to be honest, we do not want to release a game we don't even think is fun ourselves. So we went ahead and made a list of all the problems which are currently in the game, which we thought were minor bugs, but which actually caused the game to be not as fun as it should be. And the list was long, and most of the things were actually problems with replication. We used the plugin I talked about at the start, but it was just a minor fix. It was able to create the movement so it does not feel bad and you can move as a player and you can move together, but once moving platforms and things which are knocking you away are coming into play, it just looks weird because from the POV of the other player, if someone gets knocked away, it clips through the player and is delayed, and sometimes the knocking does not even happen because as a client you're not authoritative. And it was just structured real bad. And it was structured so bad that while trying to fix some of the things from the list, I noticed I genuinely don't even know where to start anymore and I'm just lost in the project. So we did what every good game dev does when a project gets too big. We just stopped working on it overall. But after 3 months of not opening DosQubos, we thought to ourselves, we poured so much energy into it, Steely made so many assets, particles, landscapes, whatever, and those are still usable. The only thing which is not working is the movement and the gameplay itself. So we decided, let's just remake the complete game with all the new knowledge we've gathered and try to create an actual, well-structured, good game. And we're still doing that right now, so if you want to see how that went, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and have a nice day. Bye.